Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at this Cragstan Mobile Gas truck. It's a battery-operated tin toy. 5 years ago I did a very short video on YouTube showing it in action driving around the kitchen room floor. Today, I don't know if it's the same unit or one like it. I think it's the same one. It came back not working and it had some new problems, and we're going to get into that. But basically, I'll turn it around in a second so you can see the other side where all the controls are. You have a lever here that you move, which then releases this tin battery box, and there's two D-cell batteries facing downward in that. And I'm telling you that first because we're going to be aiming up to this picture on the computer so I can show you what was in there. So you take the body off, you take that battery box cover off. The two D cells would normally sit down in there. This piece would flip down. You wouldn't see these. These would be aiming down. But see this yellow wire here that's not going anywhere? It's supposed to be soldered on there. So a factory cold solder joint finally let loose, and power couldn't get from the battery pack back to the motor. This one goes over to the on-off switch, but this one goes right to frame ground and into the motor. See if there's any other pictures there you might want to see before we move away. The other cold solder joint is right here. This is a dual lamp flasher that's on the front of it. And right here is a wire that's supposed to be soldered on right there, so the lights can alternately flash while it's pumping gas. And here's a overall view showing the whole thing. Still have that facing up. The wire's still off there. Here's the front. You can manually adjust the steering of the front wheels to go straight or turn. The main on-off switch, this white thing, is the on-off switch. You'll see that in a second. This lever sticking out over here is a manual lever that you move to decide whether it's going to be putting power to the drive wheels to move, or whether it's going to be putting power to this strange little shaft right here, which, now we're moving back to the toy. Okay. I have to get a little further away to keep everything in the picture. There's a flex drive, and that's where that shaft was sticking up. And that flex drive gets power back to make all of these numbers and clock dials and everything spin around and move. Let's take a look at the other side of the toy. Here we go. So here's that manual switch where you decide whether the motor is going to drive that flex drive to change this stuff, or whether it's going to engage the rear wheels to make it go forward. Then on the very front of the toy, there's the two colored alternately flashing lights that are in there. So let's move that to there, move this to on, and I'll kind of zoom you in. And like all flex drives, they kind of jerk and twitch, but you can see that there's numbers in there moving, counting, dials spinning, and clear up on the front. In the front you've got your two red and green lights flashing in the front. Then, I'll kind of pick it up. If you were to move this, you now engage the rear wheels to let the thing drive around. Those are the functions. Here's the wheels in the front where you can set to steer whether you want to go straight or turn. These two pieces do not disconnect from each other, which is unfortunate when you're working on the toy. But at any rate, I'll put a link to the short video from 5 years ago so you can actually see the thing shooting around on the floor. Basically when it's in drive mode, if I remember right. Let me check. Let's lift it up again. Let's turn it on. Yeah, when you're in drive mode, the light on the front is just going to stay lit on whichever light happened to have been on when you put it in drive mode. The only time they alternately flash is when it's supposed to be pumping gas. You also notice there's some strange little hook things on the sides. There and there. I think initially the toy had some rubber hoses or string or something that would act like the pump nozzle. and that's where they would coil around and be stored, and then you would uncoil them and pretend like you're filling up your other device with fuel.